Hi, Ariana. Nice to meet you. How you doing?
I'm awesome. So, other work that you've done, such as Spiderwick Chronicle, was adapted into a live action. Why do you think Wondla was perfect for an animated series?
That's a great question, Ariana. Truthfully, I mean, I love films from Pixar and Disney and DreamWorks and Studio Ghibli, and that's kind of the same audience I'm trying to reach with my books. I first and foremost make books for 10-year-old me. What did 10-year-old Tony want that old Tony can make, right? But then I'm thinking of kids, and I'm thinking of parents or teachers or librarians who are reading a book and sharing the story. And so that's kind of the same audience that enjoys an animated, feature. So I think it was a kind of a no-brainer. Also, I think the fact that unlike Spiderwick, that kind of takes place in a real world, but there's fairies. Wandla is like it's sci-fi fantasy, right? Everything is inventive, which equals very expensive to make in live action, and a little there's more mobility, there's more you can do in animation. And so I'm just incredibly excited that everybody at the Skydance team was just embraced the books and the stories and the themes and the characters to bring it to life. It took 4 years to do this, so it's incredible.
Yes. What's also great about Wondla is that there's three Wondla books and there's three seasons of
Going all three?
Wondla.
Yeah.
So you know already that it's going to be presented in kind of the same way that the books were presented. As an author, what is that like other than like with other adaptations for other authors and other books that you're like, oh, maybe they're going to see it in this medium, maybe they're not, maybe it's going to be out of order. For an author, what is that like?
Again, rare and insane and crazy that they're like, no, we're all in. We're gonna do all three books. Okay, let's go. And they're like, well, we're in production wise, we're gonna do them right back to back, and we'll get them all done. And and we're gonna it's gonna get crazier and more insane as each season goes by. And they've done just a terrific job of that. And I think part of it is, there again, as an author, and I've had different experiences seeing my work adapted. The idea that there was just such a mutual respect, storyteller to storyteller, with the animation of Bob Scanaway as showrunner, David Ellison and Dana Goldberg of Skydance, and John Lasseter. I mean, they were all incredibly respectful of me and the books, and I was obviously a huge fan of many of the films that they've created. And so the idea of working together just seemed natural, and I'm very, just it just worked out. And you just don't always get that. It doesn't always work out that way where everybody's just happy to be working together on this project. And I think the adaptation is richer because of that. And hopefully audiences feel the same way.
Yes. What was in this season, what was your favorite scene to see come to life that you were really excited to see?
Great question. So one of my favorite scenes in the first book is Eva, the hero, goes to see a soothsayer named Arius, and Arius kind of tells her the future. So we did a little bit of changing in the series. You will see Arius, but not in this season. But you get to see her sister Darius, who could see the past, which is really cool. It was really exciting because I don't outline at all any experience with Eva and Darius in the books. And so this was a chance for all of us as a team to kind of work together to kind of create this scene and how it would work, and how does Darius see in the past, and what does she see. And it was just really exciting. It's a really shining example of like staying true to the world of the books, but also creating something new for exclusively for the show, which was, I loved it.
Yes. Speaking of the world of the books, it is a children's book, but there's also like a lot of darkness. Like when I
Yeah.
was watching this, I was like, wait, this is a children's series, right? How do you kind of balance that out? Because you were saying this is for your 10-year-old self, and being 10 isn't always like poppy fields and roses. How do you kind of balance that out when you're telling a story that there is going to be some nuance and an introduction to all of the highs and lows of life?
And I think because you're a kid doesn't mean you're not experiencing that. I mean, you're still experiencing hopefully you're experiencing joy and happiness, but unfortunately the other side of that is pain and loss. And I often resorted to fantasy stories to help me cope with the real world, especially when it wasn't going so great.
Mhm.
Those were my escape hatches. Those were my places where I felt like I could disappear for a little while and perhaps process what was going on in my reality. And so I want to be able to offer that for readers. And I'm so excited that so many other authors are doing that now, and we're seeing more diverse stories that talk about that, and as it should be. And but for me, my language has always been fantasy stories, imaginative stories, and science fiction stories, and those are the types of stories that I always loved as a kid. So this is the format I chose to talk about some of these big themes. But those are the stories that I also have held on to and loved as a kid. I mean, I loved Charlotte's Web, and if you've read Charlotte's Web, you know how that ends. But that's an important, it's that's what makes it so good. That's what makes it so memorable. And so that's what I was aspiring towards in the first Wondla book.
Yeah. What would you rather be your main form of transportation, the goldfish or Otto?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. Boy, that is tough. Otto, I'm guessing Otto eats a lot. I don't know if I could keep up with that food intake where versus the goldfish. But Otto's so sweet. Like I love him. You know, he's a big dog. If you're a dog person, you get it. You know what Otto is. And but that goldfish is cool, man. That goldfish is
Yes. Yes. Which character do you kind of relate to the most?
That's a good question. So, again, at the time, my daughter was 2 and I was working on these books and I was thinking about being a parent and I was thinking about, will I be like a helicopter parent that's like, don't fall, don't trip, don't do this, you can't do that? Or will I be more like my dad was in the 70s where he's like, be home when the lights are on, you can go here and go there, do this, right? And the truth is I'm kind of both. But that's Mother and Rovender. That's who they are. They're accessing these parts of my where I was at the time in my life and kind of reconciling that. And so I definitely relate to both of them in those ways.
I can definitely see that. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. Congrats on this entire series. I can't wait to talk to you about season 2 and future projects.
Oh, thank you, Ariana. It's great chatting with you.
You too. Thank you so much.
Yeah.